I was talking to one artist one time, and I remember a question was asked to her, do you ever stop painting? She said, I can't, I'm addicted. Well, I'm addicted. I sure am. I'm happier when I've got something to paint. Out of high school, I joined the Air Force, and I was a crew chief on jet aircraft. And I was talking to my pilot buddy there, and he said, hey, why don't you help me paint the logos on the aircraft? And so I did. He was the artist. He actually was the artist, trained. And I cut a lot of Friscuits and stuff like that for him. Anyway, we painted up all the airplanes. Well, I told him, I don't know what I'm going to do. And he said, well, you've obviously got some art talent. Why don't you go be an artist? Well, I thought an artist was ones who were fine artists. And, I wasn't really interested in that. Then he told me about what he was, which was called commercial artist. And I said, well, I can do that. So on the GI Bill, I went to Richmond, Virginia, went to school at Virginia Commonwealth University. I had to come to some big city to get a job, and Houston at that time was booming. I got a job at the Houston Chronicle. And prior to that, I had gone to a design firm, which was the best design firm in Houston, Baxter & Cord in Houston. And the owner said, I would hire you right now, but I can't take another artist on. I've got one that's leaving. He's been having to go into the service. He said, so I'll call you when he's gone. So I thought he would never call me. Anyway, he called me one day and said, hey, the guy's gone. You still want the job? So I said, of course. Well, as an art director and on some of the publications we did, I had to buy art from artists. So I met a lot of fantastic artists and bought their work and used it in the publication. And I always thought at the time, well, I'd love to be able to do that, but these guys, I can't do that. Well, after I thought I had absorbed everything and I knew everything, which I didn't, but I went out on my own and did very well. It was mainly after I retired that I started thinking I really wanted to do art. A friend of mine had done just that, and he was doing well. And I visited him to see what he was doing a lot of times, and I said, boy, I wish I could do that. And he said, well, do it. And I said, well, okay. He was working in oil, though, in the ingredients in oil didn't go with my skin, and I had problems with that. So I chose watercolor. So I just set out, I bought some books from famous artists, and some of the books gave you kind of step-by-step procedure to get into it, and I followed that. And it began to work. However, I threw away about the first 13 paintings I ever did, because I thought they were awful. But then it began to happen. And finally, one day, I did a painting, and I thought, well, this stands up to anything I've seen that I used to buy, so. And that kind of set me off. My wife's kids, my stepkids, all had memories of a place they used to go as a kid out in the West Texas, and it was on a river, and they had there was a big hole in the creek. It was more like a creek, but it had a big hole they could swim in. So Carol, for their birthday, asked me to do a painting of that old place. So I did a painting for each one, and I tried to show a different angle at it. Of course, we went down and I took a lot of pictures and had the different lighting factors. And they all cried when they got the painting. So that's really what started me out. The fact that those kids loved that old place so much reminded me when I was a kid. So I started doing some of my old relatives, the old barns. Got interested in barns and farms and that kind of thing, and living all of the memories that I had when I was growing up. It was for myself, really, recording all of these memories that I grew up with in the country on the farms. I wanted to capture that, knowing that old rice mill one day is going to fall down and they aren't going to be anymore. So I would go paint the rice mill. And the fact that you're not going to see architects designing this kind of buildings anymore. They're all glass and steel or something else, so when they're gone, they're gone. Carol and I take these European trips, and I love to get on the boats on the rivers and get up on the upper deck and sketch and take pictures and all of the castles along. I think I've probably painted all the castles along the Rhine, the Danube, and all of the major rivers. I can't stop doing that. I love castles. I'm working on one now that I'm trying to make it a ghost castle. I've used up all the other terms I could think of. I got a commission from a friend. Every year he bought peaches from Fredericksburg. And he sent me up to Fredericksburg to one of the orchards to do a painting. He wanted me to make it a red truck because he had a red truck at his farm that he said he made the structure of the truck so it would hold a lot of peaches. Anyway, I used that truck as an idea, and he loved it. And then I thought, well, I had so much fun with that truck that I think I'll do something else. And then it came to my idea that, you know what, I think I'll just put a little red truck in all my paintings. It kind of like be a little hallmark, a little signature. From that point on, I started doing that. It didn't matter what kind of painting it was. It just came up to the point where I just could not do that. I couldn't finish the painting with a little red truck. Also, in our travels, my wife and I would take the back roads, and she would drive, and I'd sit up with my camera, and if we saw an old truck in somebody's yard, she would stop, and I would go sneak back there and take a picture of it and get back in the car. One time, I saw a truck by the side of a house, and I started to walk back there, and I got back there ready to take a picture, and the woman jumped out of the window in her night clothes. And I thought, well, she's going to shoot me. Instead, she wanted to know why I was interested in that truck. And I talked with her a little while. She was very friendly, and she was very proud of the truck. Her husband and all that. And for some reason, she told me why she didn't come out the door. It says her husband had locked the door, so she had to come out the window. And I thought, well, what do I have here? Even though. Anyway, I got out of that one with my life. I love watercolor. I like what I can do with it and what it does for me, and the way the paints mix together is not like it is with oil. Happy accidents is what I'm looking for, and it happens a lot. And it's just wonderful. I can't not do it.